Hey guys, so this is going to be a tutorial on how to make Greek letters. First, you will need a pair of old Greek letters, scissors, a fabric marker, 2 plastic sheets of paper, an iron, heat and bond, and fabric. The first thing you want to do is to take your pair of old Greek letters and iron them out so they're nice and flat so you can trace around them with the plastic paper. If you don't have a pair of old Greek letters or this is going to be your first pair of Greek letters, I suggest going online and getting print out like a pair of Greek letters from the internet that you can trace, or you can do measurements on a ruler and just make it from scratch. Now you're going to take the plastic paper and you're going to put it over your Greek letters and you're going to trace it out using a marker. I used a fabric marker just in case it bled through this plastic since there's like little holes. But yeah, you can use pretty much any marker. I suggest a fabric marker, but it's really up to you. And there's how it should look. You're going to just trace the outside of the letter first. You're going to trace all of the outsides of the letter. So basically everything that's the gold underneath, you're going to just trace around it since that's going to be on the bottom. Then you're going to take your second sheet of plastic paper and you're going to trace the inner part of the letter. So basically you're going to trace the purple with this paper, and in the last paper you were going to trace the gold, and it's going to be stacked later on, so you'll see what I mean. So if you're a little confused, just watch and you'll see how I like stack it later on. So this is the front. Now you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut the plastic stencils that you made. This paper should be easy to cut. If it's easier than using this paper, you can use the plastic dividers that you get from a binder. That will probably be easier to cut, but this was pretty easy to cut for me. I found this paper in Michael's. It was about 75 cents. Now you have to cut the insides of the stencils. So what I did was, since this paper had little holes, I just took the scissors and I placed the scissor inside of like a little hole and I cut around. But if you have a scalpel, what's it called? Scalpel, you can cut it out easier. Don't forget to cut the other sheet of paper too. And once you cut both of them, they should look like this. And this is what I meant earlier. This is how it's going to be stacked when you take your fabric to stencil it out later. Okay, so now you're going to take your fabric and you're going to iron it out, and then you're going to take your heat and bond and cut out a sheet and iron it on top of the back of the fabric. And then you're going to take your stencil, make sure it's flipped upside down, just like that, and trace it out. Now you're going to go and you're going to iron out your t-shirt so that it's flat. And then you're going to cut out the drawn letters that you drew on the back of your fabric. And like I said, don't forget to put the heat and bond on the back of the fabric, because when you turn it around, the good side is going to be facing. Make sure you do that for your pattern fabric and your solid fabric. The solid fabric should be the thicker stencils you made, and the pattern fabric should be the thinner stencils you made, as you can see right here. Then you're going to take your iron and you're going to iron it on for a couple seconds, probably like between 15 and 20 seconds. And then what's supposed to happen afterwards is you're supposed to sew it on with the sewing machine around the traced around the letters, but the sewing machine I had wasn't working, so I couldn't trace. I couldn't stitch around my letters. But if you don't want to stitch, it'll be perfectly fine with you ironing it on just like that. And yeah, I hope you liked this tutorial. This was my first, what's the word? The first time of me talking through the microphone. So I hope this wasn't too confusing. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them. Thank you.